one?
Okay, I think it's, as usual, I've always been fascinated by the science fair. I think the science fair is really an excellent expression of the creative minds of our young people. The good thing too about the science fair is that it's not just young people at the secondary school level, but it's young people going all the way down to primary school, and it shows you just how much that scientific curiosity is there. And it really speaks well for our country. One of the things I've always lamented, however, is that curiosity ends after the science fair. That has nothing to do with the students. It has to do with us as a government, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Science and Technology, which has recently been established. We now have to find a way to not just continue to encourage the students, but some of these projects have, I believe, some commercial value, if not in the immediate future, but certainly long term. And I don't like to see, the analogy I've used is that sometimes the science fair reminds me of carnival. When we had King and Queen of the Bands, we'd have these beautiful elaborate costumes that were put out and you could see excellent workmanship, and then these costumes get cannibalized or thrown away until the next carnival season comes. And I think unfortunately there's some elements of our science fair that remind me of that, and that shouldn't happen. The amount of work that goes into this, you know, the children have identified a problem, they've established a hypothesis, and they've systematically looked at how they solve that problem, and they come up with a conclusion, sometimes that verifies what they set out to, or puts them along another track. And we have to find a way to encourage that, to make greater use of it. I think it's also necessary for the science fair to have a better home. The good thing about the Derek Walcott Sq is that it's accessible to everyone, but the bad thing about the Derek Walcott Sq is that it leaves you open to the elements, and if it rains, then you have difficulties. And this is also not the best environment, I think, to be displaying those projects. So we will need to work together with the Ministry of Education to see how we can find a better, more permanent home for the science fair. But more importantly, how we can continue to encourage this level of scientific inquiry, how we can continue to encourage science as a field, science and technology as a field for our young people, so that they do not continue to go along the path as we've seen in the last decade or two of everybody going into business. I think the way in which most countries have made that leap from developing to develop is by developing the capacity in science and technology, and it's certainly something we need to continue encouraging.
Okay, thank you very much.